Okay, welcome back to video 2 for our day 1 Zoom substitute. I went over the syllabus, and so now I talked a little bit about this while I was going over the syllabus, but in general know that there are 3 units in this class. Serial is a podcast, and I'll get more into that later in the PowerPoint, but it's a podcast that I call the background noise for the whole semester. Picture it like if I'm going to compare it to a trampoline. We'll be bouncing in and out of Serial. We'll be using it to launch all of our other work. And so it will be kind of what's going on in the background all semester. It is a podcast, and again, I'll get more into that later in the presentation. You have 3 writing units, like I said in the syllabus. There's a personal narrative unit, and that's where we'll start. That's worth 20% of your grade. The rhetorical mode essay, that's the justice papers, worth 30%, and then the argument, which is a final podcast with an annotated bibliography, each are worth 10%. We'll be preparing for the final project all semester. It's based in Serial, so it's a good idea to keep a journal where you're summarizing each episode, because when we finally get to December and we get to this final project, you're probably going to have a hard time remembering what happened in episode 1 that you listened to in August. So it's a really good idea to keep somewhere a list of what happened in each episode, a short little summary of what happened in each episode. Just somewhere keep a record of what's going on and what evidence was presented in the podcast, because otherwise you're going to get to December and just have to re-listen to the whole thing again, and it's 12 episodes, so that's 12 hours, and I don't think you'll have that time in December. So just keep a good list of what happens in each episode, and you'll thank yourself in December. We also do a project called Curiosity Quest. It's the research that we'll do this semester, and we will be doing that research all semester long. And so when you get to the final podcast at the end of the semester, you will have already done the research and done all of the reading by listening to the podcast. So you should be ready to get started and have an idea of what sources you're going to use, as long as you keep up with the work in the course all semester. Okay. So next, I already showed you the course schedule when I was in D2L. Remember, it's always going to be in that week Start Here folder. It's always orange. It always looks like this. You'll know what week it is because it'll be listed up here, and it will tell you what to do, right? And so there's always going to be a week overview video. There's always going to be this course schedule. This week, you're going to read the syllabus, and then there's a discussion board. I will be putting you into pods this week, which are groups of about 8 to 9 people, and those are the people you'll work with in your discussion boards. And so once you see your list, just write down your pod mates, and those are the people you want to reply to. Now, because this is an introduction discussion board, and you'll be working with all of the students in our class, it's probably a good idea to respond to everyone, but you're not required to do that. And don't forget about me. I am in your class. And so I won't be in a pod, so, just don't leave me out. Okay, next you're going to listen to Serial Episode 1. I showed you where those links are. There's also a discussion board, and the prompts are on the discussion board. Discussion board posts are always due. Initial posts are due Wednesday, and then the replies are due Friday. And again, you're responding to all of the people in your pod. And again, pods will be posted later today. Next, you have 2 7-minute writings, and when we say 7-minute writings, it does mean that. Set a timer, write for 7 minutes, or 8 if you need to finish something up. And then first there's a letter to Jan, and the prompt for that is on that link. So in D2L, you'll click on letter to Jan, and the prompt will be there. And then there's a coming of age prompt also, so you have 2 7-minute writings to do. And then the learning content this week happens in a voice thread, and I'm going to show you how to use that in a minute. But you're going to read an essay called A Sin, and then you're going to do this voice thread. And again, I'll show you what that is in a minute. You actually participate in that, and so you'll add your own comments, and that's how you complete that part of the work. And then there's informal writing. You're going to read a blog post by Zakaya called Good Muslims Do Bad Things Too, and then there is an informal writing assignment that goes with it. And this makes up all of the work for week 1. So I kind of showed you already how we use D2L. I think I will go back to it in a minute and kind of walk you through it. But in general, here's a screenshot of all of week 1, right? And so in your week 1 start here folder, which is your orientation, you had all of the beginning videos plus the course schedule, the syllabus, and things like that, right? And then you have your serial folder, your 7-minute writing folder, the 6 traits, and informal writing. Just work down the folders. Okay, so start here, then do serial, then do your 7-minute writing, then do the 6 traits, and then do your informal writing, and that should get you through all of the assignments for week 1. All right, so here I am going to go back and I'm going to show you how to use VoiceThread. VoiceThread is a program. Actually, I'm going to go to D2L and show you where it is. VoiceThread is a program that allows me to deliver a lecture, but also have you participate in it. So it kind of mimics a lecture that I would give in class where I would stop periodically and say, so how you doing with this? Or why don't you try one, right? It mimics that kind of content delivery. So I'm going to show you where that is. Remember, I click on content and then I go to week 1, right? And so here's week 1, right? And then this is the week 1 start here folder. Next is the serial folder. Next is the 7-minute writing. And I probably should show you, once you click into these folders, you can see here's the link to serial, and then here's the discussion board. And just like I told you, the prompt for the discussion board shows up. And so you just have to read it and then respond to it, and then you just click on it and click start a thread, right? And so don't forget there is a online discussion board rubric that shows you how you're going to be graded on your discussion boards. It just basically is requiring you to have college level inquiry in all of your posts. All right, 7-minute writing, if I click on that folder, again, you're going to see that the prompts come right up with it. So you just have to look at those, and then you're going to click here and click start. Same with coming of age, the prompts are right here. Then if I click on the 6 traits, right? Here is the essay, so you're going to want to click on this first, and then you're going to want to print it because you'll need it while you do the VoiceThread. And VoiceThread is always going to be called this external learning tool here, and so you're going to click on the VoiceThread, and it'll take a second, so it'll spin, and then I always click open in a new tab, which is what I've done, and I've already done that, so I'm just going to click over to it. And so what you'll see in VoiceThread is you are going to get to listen to me lecture, and actually, let me see, I might have to move this up a little bit. There we go, because I couldn't get to the play button. Okay, so there's a play button in the bottom left, and actually maybe I'll move that down so you can see it now. So now you can see it. So when all you do is you click on the play button, and then it's going to play a comment that I have already recorded, and I don't have my speakers on, so you can't hear it. All right, so I just turned them on, so you'll hear in a second.
The 6 traits of writing were developed by a bunch of
and so I'm going to click pause, so you're going to listen to that on your own. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click over here on the right to advance the slide. So you'll go to the next slide, and then you're going to click play, right? And you're going to hear my next comment, and you can see them, they'll run down here, right? And so I'm going to introduce content for a while. So you're going to see all these slides with just one or two little comments off on the left. And so then I'm telling you, you need to print the essay. I told you to do that. And then when you get here, so I do have the essay in here, although I do want you to see it's super small and a little blurry, so it's much better if you have it printed. And so then I'm going to go through and I'm going to model like all of the different traits from the content that I'm teaching you, right? And so then when I get through the modeling or showing you examples, now I'm going to ask you to work on it and give me examples. So then I'm going to click, and it says record your find. So I'm going to remind you what ideas and content is, and then it tells you here your options in VoiceThread are to type a comment, record a comment, or record a video of yourself. Okay? And so it says listen or read your classmates' comments because you can't repeat a quote that they've already talked about, right? And then you're going to come back and visit. So when you are looking to add a comment, you're going to click over here, and here's the article. And so what you're going to do is you're going to click on the plus sign, and then you're going to click either the microphone, which is an audio comment. That means you get to talk. You can type your comment here. So if you click here, you can click type, and you can actually just type in your comment. If you click here, then that's the video. So that means it'll use your camera and you can talk to me, which is kind of cool. Here, if for some reason like your microphone's not working, you can actually click here and VoiceThread will call you. And then you can record a phone comment. I don't know if students have ever used this, but I guess that's kind of nice. So if I click on the microphone, if I do that, now I have this countdown skip, but ordinarily you'll see a countdown here. It'll go 3, 2, 1, and that'll give you a minute to take a deep breath. And then you can see here, it says stop recording. That means I'm being recorded right now. And so what I would do then, if I'm going to refer to a specific part of the essay, I'm going to click on my pencil. I like purple. And so let's say I want to talk about this very beginning. I can kind of circle it with my mouse. I can, don't scribble, but obviously, and then I can talk about what I'm seeing, right? When I'm done, I'm going to click stop recording. Now I'm going to click cancel. But if you
do that, now I have this countdown skip, but ordinarily,
see, you can hear what I just recorded. Now I don't want to keep that in your VoiceThread, so I'm going to click cancel right here. But if you're happy with what you've said, then you'll click save. So I'm just going to click cancel, okay? And then what you'll find is that I'm going to move to the next one, and then you're going to go here and record another comment, and you'll do that all the way to the end. There's 25 slides. You record on the last few. At the very end, and I'll just kind of advance all the way through so you can kind of see this. At the very end, I ask you for questions. So at the end, if there's anything muddy or unclear, you'll just record your questions, either video or audio comment, or you'll type. Okay? And that's how you can complete your VoiceThread assignment. Okay, so that is VoiceThread, and that's how you complete that assignment. All your comments are recorded, and then I listen to them and give you credit for completing the work. Okay, so then the podcast. Serial is a publication of NPR, National Public Radio. It's from WBEZ Chicago, which is the program it's from is called This American Life. And so Serial is a production of that, and it is serial as in like serialized, right? Like 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. And so it is a true crime podcast about a murder of a 17-year-old girl, and her ex-boyfriend, who was also 17, was arrested for her murder and has been in jail ever since he was 17 years old and maintains his innocence. And so that's generally what the podcast is about. There are 12 episodes that kind of give you the case a little bit at a time. And again, you're going to listen to it. Students usually love this podcast. There are 3 seasons, and we're going to focus on season 1. So that is kind of some background knowledge on the podcast. This week, you're going to listen to episode 1, and by then you'll pretty much have it down what you need to know about it. So the one thing I want you to think about, and this is part of your assignment this week, is to think about where were you on July 13th, 2020. That's exactly 6 weeks ago from 2 to 3 p.m. So if you could get out a sheet of paper, if you need to pause the presentation here to do that, go ahead and get out a sheet of paper. And I want you to write down where you were. Don't use your phone. Don't use social media. Can you just remember 6 weeks ago, Monday, July 13th, where were you at 2 o'clock in the afternoon for about an hour? So write down what you remember. Pause the presentation here to record your notes, and then click play again when you're ready. Okay, so now you've thought about it, and now I want you to go ahead and use your phone and social media if you need to fill in any gaps in your memory. So pause the presentation here again and fill in any gaps. Again, you should be working on scrap paper or something like that. Okay, and so I want you're going to actually post your notes that you just did to the Serial discussion board. It's actually part of your discussion board post this week, and so you are going to post that. You will add it after you listen to the whole first episode, but this is part of your discussion board post or your notes, because one of the things that the host of the podcast, her name is Sarah Koenig, one of the points that she makes right away is that's really hard for us to remember and account for our time. And so you'll see why that matters once you listen to the episode 1. So after class, then after I'm done with these videos, which again, I'm almost to my 15 minutes, so I'm going to have to stop here in a second, but you're going to listen to episode 1 of season 1 of Serial. The link is here, so you can, it doesn't work from the video, but you don't need it because it's in the week 1 content under the Serial subfolder anyway. You're going to click and listen to it, and then you're going to do your discussion board post. All right, I am out of time, so I am going to pause the video here, and there will be then part 3 next.